Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome into today's daily Bible reading for November the 27th. Today, we are reading together Psalm 139. The 139th Psalm has been given the title in my Bible, The All-Knowing, Ever-Present God. It is a psalm that was referenced by our brother Steve Peeler in his study on the nature of God a few weeks ago. And I knew that it would be coming up in our daily Bible reading, so I was excited to get back to it. It's an interesting psalm. It's probably decently well known by people, particularly for the text verses 13 and 14, verses 13 through 16, where it talks about forming the inward parts of us. We often go to there just to show the reality that life in the womb is exactly that, life in the womb. And while that is true, again, if we read text, if we read the psalm in its context, we recognize that's not really the main point of the psalm. It's kind of a side point, which is getting more so to the realities of God Himself. It's not about us; it's about God and what God knows, and just really about everything that He knows. And the reason He knows everything is because of how powerful He is, the fact that His knowledge is indefinite, and that He is ever present. But interestingly enough, where that might lead us to think that this is purely a trust psalm. In fact, it probably fits more so into the lament psalm category. And there's even an imprecatory portion of this psalm, which seems to actually be the kind of the main point of the psalm, verses 19 through 22, where the author David speaks about enemies. This psalm is for the choir director, and we are told that it is a Psalm of David. And it seems to have been written during the time whenever David was under severe pressure and oppression by some enemies. And he's recognizing God's omnipotence. He's recognizing God's omnipresence. He's recognizing God's omniscience. And because he recognizes these things, he's going to say to God, hey, since all these things are true about you, can you do something about my enemies? Can you can you even kill my enemies? Those who are bloodthirsty and those who are um, doing evil things against you and against me. So, with that said, let's go ahead and read the text together. I don't want to really spoil all of the comments I want to make about this psalm. So, let's read this psalm together. Psalm 139 and verse number 1. Psalm 139, the all knowing, ever present God. Again, this is a psalm of David. David writes, Psalm 139, verse number 1, Yahweh, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I stand up. You understand my thoughts from far away. You observe my travels and my rest. You are aware of all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know all about it, Yahweh. You have encircled me. You have placed your hand on me. Though this wondrous knowledge is beyond me. It is lofty. I am unable to reach it. Where can I go to escape your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I fly on the wings of the dawn and settle down on the western horizon, even there your hand will lead me. Your right hand will hold on to me. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light around me will be night. Even the darkness is not dark to you. The night shines like the day. Darkness and light are alike to you. For it was you who created my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you because I have been remarkably and wondrously made. Your works are wondrous, and I know this very well. My were not hidden from you when I was made in secret, when I was formed in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw me when I was formless. All my days were written in your book and planned before a single one of them began. God, how precious your thoughts are to me. How vast their sum is. If I counted them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I wake up, I am still with you. God, if only you would kill the wicked. You bloodthirsty men, stay away from me, who invoke you deceitfully. Your enemies swear by you falsely. Yahweh, don't I hate those who hate you and detest those who rebel against you? I hate them with extreme hatred. I consider them my enemies. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my concerns. See if there is any offensive way in me. Lead me in the everlasting way. Psalm 139. Psalm 139. Again, part of this psalm is probably very familiar to us, but it's interesting really to look at the psalm in its greater context and try to understand what's going on. Again, I think it is important for us to almost start the end with this particular psalm to see that section verses 19 through 22, which seems to constitute the motivation for this psalm. That there were those who were wicked, those who were pestering David and trying to cause trouble for David. They were enemies who invoked Yahweh deceitfully. They swore by Yahweh falsely. They hated Yahweh and they rebelled against Yahweh. And because of that, David hated them. I hate them with extreme hatred. I consider them my enemies. And maybe it's because of this reason that these people are causing David issue and they're trying to either get David to sin or causing David some problems in some sort of way. So with that as the background, we then begin to consider these attributes of God. Number one, his omniscience. In verses 1 through 6, his omniscience. That he has searched David, he knows David. He knows when David sits down, he knows when David stands up, he knows his thoughts, he knows his travels, he knows his ways. He knows everything before David even says it. He's encircled him, he has placed his hand around him. And this incredible, unmatched knowledge of God, this greatness of God's knowledge, David says, it is beyond me and I am unable to reach it. Well, just because David is unable to reach God does not mean that God is unable to reach David. Where can I go? Verses 7 through 12 about God's omnipresence. Where can I go to escape your spirits? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to heaven, you're there. If I were to go to Sheol, you're there. If I go to the east, to the west, you are there. Even in the darkness, you see me. In the lights, obviously you're there. The darkness is not dark to you. The night shines like the day. To you, darkness and light are alike. So again, God is present and aware at all times. And then verses 13 through 16, God's omnipotence, his great unmatched power. It was God who formed David's inward parts. It was God who knit him together in his womb. It is God who remarkably and wondrously made David. That he was made in secret. That the conception and development of the human fetus in the womb, and fetus just means small one or infant. Um, it also means what's the other term for it? Um, something along the lines of like new creation, something like that. Uh, whenever the smallest the at the point in which we are the smallest in our development after having been conceived, what we are right then. David says, "You were aware of me then, and you are the one that was causing me to grow and to develop and to mature. You saw me even whenever I was formless. All my days were written in your book and planned before a single one of them began." God, again, in every way, knows all, is present among all, and is able to do all. So considering all these things, how precious your thoughts are to me, God, how incredible and vast they are. They outnumber anything I can imagine. You are always with me. So knowing this, knowing how much God knows, and acknowledging how present God is, and acknowledging how powerful God is putting his full trust in him, or excuse David is putting his full trust in God to take care of the situation, to take care of his enemies, and to do what is right on behalf of David. Search me, God, verses 23 and 24. Search me, God, and know my heart. That's an echo of God's omniscience. Test me and know my concerns, his omniscience. See if there is any offensive way in me, and then lead me in the everlasting way. Because you know all, because you're everywhere, and because of the great power that you have, Yahweh, I know that you can know me, know my heart, know my concerns, know even whenever I am wrong, and you can correct me, and by your power, you can lead me in the right way. So whether it's about David in the face of enemies who were doing him wrong and him calling on God's judgment and protection, or whether it's just seeking God's guidance and God's provision to help him walk in the everlasting way, David had full confidence in God's unlimited nature, his unlimited knowledge, his unlimited presence, his unlimited power. And certainly for us, this is a good lesson for us as well to know that there is nothing that God does not know, to know that there is nowhere God is not, and to know there's nothing that God cannot do. So we must put our full faith and trust in Him. And as we think about these incredible attributes of God, certainly does give us something to be very, very thankful for. So I hope this will give us something to meditate upon today, and as we go into our thoughts of Thanksgiving throughout the next few days. I appreciate you tuning in for this reading today. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave that in the comment section below. I appreciate you taking some time to read along with me on this Wednesday. Looking forward, of course, to seeing everybody tonight for our Wednesday special study series at 7, where Jim will be leading us in a study on, it's kind of a long one. Oh, that was loud. I'm sorry. Let's see here. It is going to be the goodness, compassion, forgiveness, and immutability of God. Is that right? No, that's not correct. Excuse me, that's next week's. Tonight's is the mercy, grace, and long suffering of God. That, if Jim was listening to this, he probably about had a heart attack there for a second, wondering what's going on. I guess I got the wrong one. No, no, no. Tonight, Jim's lesson is the mercy, grace, and long suffering of God. And certainly that gives us something to be very thankful for as well as we consider those attributes of God. So much to think about, much to meditate upon, much to be thankful for as we go throughout the rest of this week. We will not have a reading on Friday. So we'll pick back up on Monday, reading together Psalm 140, another Psalm of David. And of course, we'll be gathering for worship on Sunday at 11 with our Bible classes beforehand at 10. Thanks again so much for tuning in today. Have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow, a great long weekend, more than likely for hopefully people who are working and those who are in school. And I do appreciate again you reading along with me today on Wednesday. We'll see you tonight. See you Sunday and get back to reading it again on Monday. Take care and God bless.